Hello, everybody, and welcome to Why Are You an Entrepreneur? The Trials and Triumphs. I'm Maureen Edwards, and this is my weekly series. And for those of you just tuning in for the first time, I created this series because entrepreneurship is really, really hard. And I take the hard out of entrepreneurship. And one of the ways to do that is to bring you rock star entrepreneurs every single week for them to share their journey of inspiration, wisdom, some of the things they've had to overcome. They've got tips, resources, best practices, anything that you can grab from others who are entrepreneurs just like you. And today is no exception. I want to go ahead and introduce you to Yolanda Johnson, a rock star entrepreneur. She is the founder, CEO, and executive consultant of, you want to tell them your company?
Sure. Beyond Measure LLC. Thank you,
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
I am welcoming you. I think you are truly amazing, and I know you're going to be adding so much value. So I'd love to start with my rockstar entrepreneurs, regardless of what stage they're at in their business.
Sure.
Why are you an entrepreneur? Can you share your journey a little bit and how you got here?
Sure. You know, I've been asked that question before, and when I really take the time to think back, it's been since probably when I was a little girl. This is definitely not new. Um, I would say when I was young, I always knew that I wanted to be a hairdresser, a cosmetologist. Always knew that. My mom, Maureen, used to buy me the bust dolls, the head dolls that
Yes.
came with the curlers and the rollers. She would buy me that maybe every Christmas or every birthday or something like that. So I would get a new one all the time. And that's how I would practice and do hair. So I actually started, if I remember correctly, I started doing people's hair, adults' hair in my mom's house. I was probably in like the sixth or seventh grade, maybe even a little earlier, and that I knew that's what I wanted to do. And so what I did is as I graduated high school, I eventually did open my own salon. I did that, and
Wow.
I was really successful in everything about hair, right? I was good at it. I actually still carry my New York State cosmetology license until this day. Yes,
Really?
I do. Yes, absolutely. I still carry that because it was so important to me and so much of who I was. But I was a cosmetologist for many years, actually practicing. And um, in through that journey, though, I believe, and I'm sure there's other entrepreneurs who will say the same thing. I believe that once you taste a piece of that, like owning your own business, no matter how challenging it is, even if you fail, once it's in your system, it's there and it's not going away. It is not going away. So that I believe that started my journey. And then when I was in like middle school, I had a gym teacher, Miss Corneliuson, I'll never forget her, who actually encouraged me to become a part of the Leaders Club.
Hmm.
And she had me be a part of the Leaders Club, and she must have seen all of these great boss skills, these bossy girl
No,
skills, these
not bossy. No, we're
leadership skills, right?
leadership, not bossy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so she helped to cultivate that. She really helped to cultivate that. So that along with being a hairdresser, a cosmetologist, and eventually opening my own salon, I believe that that was always kind of in me, always kind of there, always driven to do things my own way in my own lane, and not afraid to jump out there or fail. I believe that's where it all started.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
first off, I am learning this for the first time. Okay. We're all
Not
so
many
multi
people know that.
No, we are all so multidimensional,
Hmm.
and I know you at this point in your life, but I did
Yes,
not know that. And so
yes.
I guess my question for you though is this
Mhm.
is always one of those spicy things. Are entrepreneurs born? born for it,
Ooh.
or can you learn it? Is it something
Mhm.
later that you can become?
Yeah. I believe that you can learn it, and here is why. As I said, when I opened my own salon, looking back, and I had that salon for probably about like 2 years, but looking back, one of the things that made me successful is that I loved hair. I was passionate about hair. But one of the biggest challenges of why that salon didn't continue is because I didn't take the time to learn about the business
Mhm.
of cosmetology or
Yeah.
the business of having a business. That's really important. So I believe that people can learn that because there are people who are naturally good at running business and they know those things. So you can learn that. I believe that you can learn that. That's my thought.
I think that's amazing. And,
Yeah.
I think entrepreneurship definitely is in your blood. And me even just learning this and knowing that, it's almost like you were going to come full circle, hell or high
Mhm.
water.
Yeah.
Yolanda is coming back to her roots. But
Mhm.
what are you doing different this
Sure.
time?
Sure. So this time, what I'm doing different is exactly what I just said. I am taking the time to learn the business of my business rather than, yes, I am good at all of the things that I do, right? I provide workforce development and consulting. I do that. I do consulting, DEI training and development. I do cultural competency workshops. All of those things are great. I'm good at those things. I'm good at facilitating dialogue. What I'm not good at and what I don't have the expertise is running a business and having that structure and building that structure. So where I am today is I am taking the time to make sure my structure is in place. The I call it the ugly of business that people don't always want to talk about.
Hmm.
Is my LLC structure in place? Is my insurances in place? Are my certifications in place? Do I have the right certifications? Am I forecasting well? Am I
Yeah.
thinking about where my business is going and where I want it to go? And do I need to hire people? That is scary because what entrepreneur sets out and you have all this money to hire folks. You don't always have that. So I am now putting myself in the place where I am hiring at the capacity that I can. So whether it's a business coach or whether it's a social media consultant, I actually did hire these folks, you included, over the past few months.
Yes.
Um, to help me think about cultivating that structure. So that's the difference. And I believe that is what's going to carry my business really far down the road with all of the long term goals that I have for my business.
This is amazing advice that you're giving to people out there, because you can be passionate about something. You can take your talent, you can take something from corporate or a nonprofit and say, you know what, I'm going to make a business out of this. But
Yeah.
if you're not somebody who's familiar with marketing,
Mhm.
pricing, like logistics and all the moving parts that are out
Exactly.
there, you're
Mhm.
saying something so smart, because you got to
Yeah.
have that foundation. And, I'm happy that you admitted and identify what you're really good at and
Yeah.
where there are gaps.
Yeah.
And that's hard, I think that's hard for people who are entrepreneurs, and also people who
Mhm.
work in corporate, or just
Yeah.
personally, it's hard to do that. So that tells me you want to be really successful.
Absolutely. I know I am so comfortable in who I am and who I am not. When we become uncomfortable, Maureen, I believe it's because we allow other people to kind of get into our thinking. And of course, I've been there too, but I am so comfortable in that. And so because I know who I am not, then I get around smart people. If I can't afford to pay for a workshop or something like that, I find the people who do know things and who will answer questions for me, or I find something complimentary online or something like that. So it's really important to bring smart people around you because I am a huge visionary. I am a huge visionary, which gives me the ability to really forecast things well.
Hmm.
What I need more is administrative stuff, right? And I needed somebody. I'll give you one really good thing, and I hope folks out there really hear this. Marketing yourself.
Hmm.
not being afraid to market yourself and utilize whatever platforms are out there. So I had to hire somebody. I said, okay, what can I do? I can't hire a marketer right now, but I can hire someone to teach me how to utilize the spaces and the platforms that I do have.
Yep.
So I hired a social media expert. I call her an expert. And she helped me for 3 months think about how I position my brand in the public. She helped me think about that. She helped me think about things down to colors and my voice, my entire voice. I also hired a brand strategist years ago when I first started Beyond Measure. And then most recently, I hired a business coach to help me in her 5-6 week program, I believe it was, right, Maureen? I did that to help me shape my thinking of where my business is now. So thank you for saying that, because what I did before when I had my salon, I have to do things much, much differently now.
I love everything that you're saying. And I say to people, you say you can't afford to hire anybody. Well, you can't afford not to. Yeah. So, work within a budget. And if you're going to start a business, you have to have money for marketing. You have to have money for some type of mentoring. So definitely seek it out. It makes all the difference instead of spinning your wheels for months and months. And some people go years and want to know, why am I still at the same point? Right?
Yeah. It frees up your mind to do the things that you do well.
So tell me, you are a visionary. You have an idea of where you want to take this company. Sure. What's the evolution for you? Have you mapped that out?
Oh, I have started mapping it out. I'm not completely there. But one of the things, my main goal is that within the next 5 years, I want to be contracting out other consultants. I want to hire other consultants and not just contract them out. I also want to train them and develop my own model so that they can go out and deliver that model. Because I don't want to just hire consultants that I don't know what they're communicating, in spaces. I want to develop models for people to go out and deliver where I'm not the only one that's doing it, because there's only one of me, right? And I really believe that my business, my practice is going to grow to the point where I have to hire people and I have to train them and give them the tools to be able to go out and do the things that we do well.
So I'd like to know, so far in your journey, what has been the greatest success that you feel you've accomplished?
Oh, my greatest success?
Yeah.
I believe
you may have many. You probably have a lot, but I'd like.
Yeah, that's okay. I believe. Yeah, my greatest one though is cultivating relationships. I really believe that. I believe that my relationships are what gets me in the doors, in front of a business, in front of a potential client, referrals, all of that. So my ability to cultivate relationships and to put myself in spaces that are not always comfortable for me, I believe that's my greatest success. Because if you have those great relationships, they're the ones, they may not be your clients, but they are the ones that's going to say, I know who can do that. Oh, you need DEI training? I know who can do that. Oh, you need cultural competence workshops? I know who can do that. Or you need some entrepreneurial leadership in the workforce? I know who does that. Yes. Those are the people who are going to mention your name in rooms that you have never stepped foot in. So I really do believe, Maureen, it's my ability to cultivate relationships.
That is so awesome. And I say to people out there, a lot of people will run a business behind the computer. Like it's all digital media and social media, and And really, this is a form of traditional marketing at the highest level. It's face-to-face communication. It's building an emotional interaction with people, and it cannot be something people avoid. Maybe they don't like networking, but it has to be done. And so if somebody isn't comfortable with it, where do they start?
If they're not comfortable with building relationships.
Networking. Maybe they're more introverted.
Yeah. I do have an introverted side, believe it or not. But some of what I take for granted that comes natural for me, I understand doesn't always come natural for other folks. And I would say start in your network, in your relationships, whether it's in your job or in your career that you already have or had, and see what relationships you have there. Also, get connected to different groups, right? Different groups that your friends may not be a part of. You can't always take your friends with you into spaces that you're interested in because they may not be interested in it. So I would say, one, look into what you already have. So take a kind of inventory of the relationships that you already have. Two, take the time to look at different organizations, small groups. There's a lot of things online that you may want to start with, especially if you're introverted. And I understand that. So people may shy back from going into a large group. It's a little scary at first. But things online are really good because most people are off their cameras sometimes in workshops or in small groups. So connect in those ways. And then I would say, start putting yourself out there in little pieces, telling people what you do or what you desire to do. Once you start doing that, you're like, oh, this is a little comfortable. This isn't bad. And I think that helps. I do. Starting with what you have, attaching yourself to small groups without your friends, your own utilizing your own interests and not, your friends and things like that. And that means sometimes going alone. And then the other is to make sure you take the time to look for different workshops and things like that online. That's really important.
I love that. So I'd like to know, what success are you having with marketing your business? So that's one part, and a huge part of getting your reach out there, getting your brand out there, getting Yolanda out there. But are there other marketing tactics that you're doing right now that have been successful for you?
Mainly social media. Social media has been one of my biggest marketing platforms, especially over these past 6 months, where I actually have transitioned out of my full-time job, and utilizing social media, not just to have it, but being intentional about what I'm saying. I actually listened to a complimentary YouTube space several months ago, maybe last year, about each business. And the young lady said each business should have a marketing budget line that's the highest of everything on their budget. But if they can't do that, utilize what you have. And so I utilize social media for one of my main marketing spaces, but also reaching out to folks that I do know. And so with social media, making sure that you're really intentional about what you're saying, when you're saying it. And I am not, back to folks who are introverted, Maureen, I am not somebody who loves social media at all.
I don't either.
No.
Because it's a necessary evil.
I could disappear and never talk to people on social media again. But every time I feel like that, I get a message that says, oh my gosh, thank you so much for posting what you posted. Or I get a message that said, hey, can you provide this? Is this something that you do? Or, I get something that helps me continue to do it. But I do it because not just for marketing myself, but also I hope that I'm encouraging other people, especially women, to go out there and do the things that they need to do. And I hope that I'm inspiring somebody with something that I'm doing. So I believe that social media is kind of like the biggest marketing tool out there. And follow up. I'm also in the process of rebranding. That's really important with marketing. And so I hired someone. I hired someone to refresh my website, and we're still in the process of that. But through the current site right now, where it is, we're able to put spaces in where people can join my community. So when I have things coming up, join my community, and then you'll stay on top of what's going on. So that's another marketing technique for me too.
Now, are there certain platforms in social media that you utilize and that you've had good success with?
Yes, and I'm chuckling because someone, Maureen, you know, I always think about this. So my family and friends are mainly on Facebook.
Yes.
And I have to cultivate that because that's where my heart is. That's where people are who know me. Some of them know me from a child, from birth, all of that. So I want to make sure that I stay connected to folks there. So I have a lot of success there and a lot of traffic. Also, Instagram, I'm learning. But one of the things I'm learning about Instagram is that that's my inspirational space. That's my space where people are sending things to me and saying, oh my gosh, I love this. I needed to hear this. But LinkedIn is my space. And I'm going to be completely honest. You know that I have to increase my visibility on LinkedIn. So I
Mhm.
am in the midst of that, Maureen. I need to actually develop a beyond measure LinkedIn page. But yeah, so LinkedIn is where the people are that I want to reach, the people who are working in corporations, those folks who are mid-level managers, or those decision makers for training and development within their organization. Most of the time they're there. Some of them are also on the other sites, but for the majority, they are on LinkedIn.
And I totally agree. I think people are trying to play on Facebook. That's where they
Mhm.
go to do that. But I
Mhm.
truly believe LinkedIn is where people go to do business and to
Yeah.
network and to, take their business to the next level. And I totally agree with you. I think anybody who has a business, especially like whether it's B2B or B2C,
Yeah.
I think there's a place for them on LinkedIn. And I like how professional it is. The other
Mhm.
platforms can get a little bit off off
Yeah.
the road. This stays pretty professional.
Yeah.
But I do agree. I've never been a fan of social media myself, but I do believe to elevate your authority, to
Mhm.
elevate yourself as a go-to person in the industry, you do
Mhm.
have to step out of your comfort zone with
Yeah.
videos, reels, and a little bit of self promotion, which I was
Yeah.
never good at.
Yeah.
And so I think that people, especially small business owners,
Mhm.
people who are trying to connect, kudos to you that you are
Do
being
not be ashamed to market yourself. I tell you, these past few months, I have like no shame in my game. I'm like, you know what? I am going to market myself because if I don't, who is going to do it for me? I'm not going to wait for people to do it for me. So I'm going to market myself and I'm not going to be afraid to do it. The other thing with marketing, and because I think back when I actually started Beyond Measure years ago, community work, I think that's really important for your business to help with marketing and the positioning that you speak of as well. So when we're like building a foundation, if you can have a part of your business that is specific for community work, like my podcast that continues to develop. I utilize it to provide a space for women to have a voice, everyday women to just have a voice about their own leadership in their community or even their home or their career. I started a summit several years ago to bring women of all different races, backgrounds, socioeconomic status to come together. So all of those things really helped me to really build a foundation and positioning as well, because those same people are also going to mention my name in rooms. So, if you have a piece that you can really connect to the community, that would be great too.
and that becomes part of your brand. I mean, that is Yolanda's brand extension is
Yeah,
really what it is. And I think people have to understand that, you're not just branding a company, you're branding yourself as the
yeah.
face of that company. And so you've done a great job with that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's definitely challenging, right? As I just said, I transitioned out of my job about 6 months ago, as you know.
Mhm.
And I have a plan, and my plan is that, I am going to build the structure of my business. I'm focusing on that, so that I can accomplish those long-term goals. At the same time, I had to prepare myself mentally and spiritually and all of that for moments that come where I'm like, oh my gosh, I've had a job
Yeah.
for 30 plus years of my life.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love the workforce. To me, my story is unique because most folks are like, oh my God, I want to get out of my job. I've actually had jobs that I loved. And I decided that it was time for me to step out and focus on my business and my consultancy. And if something else comes along in the workforce, Maureen, I'm actually okay with that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I can't be a career professional and a business owner. And it's because I believe in the workforce, and that may or may not happen, and I'm okay with that. But preparing yourself, if I could give folks another tip, prepare yourself for those moments where you're going to be like, what is this?
What I do.
Yeah. What happened? I keep putting money into this, and is money coming back? But I tell you, the more you put yourself out there, the more opportunities will come along, and they do. They definitely come along.
I love it.
Mhm.
All right. So if people want to reach out to you, Yolanda, how do they get a hold of you?
Sure, sure. Shoot me an email. I'm sure when you post this, Maureen, we'll put the link to my website in the chat at the bottom. But shoot me an email. That would be great. At Yolanda, Yolanda, at leadbeyondmeasure.com. Or you can just go right on my website at bymconsults.com. bymconsults.com. And if you go on that website, you'll be able to set up an appointment with me. You'll be able to join my community for things that I have coming up this fall. I want you all to be a part of that. So again, and of course, join me on LinkedIn. You can find me, Yolanda Johnson, on LinkedIn also. Yeah.
I was going to ask you that because I was going to be like, well, what social media platform should they reach out to? So
Find me out there somewhere. But Beyond Measure, I have a Facebook page. For those of you who are watching on Facebook, it's Beyond Measure LLC. But the webpage is really good to connect with me and stay connected to my community. Also, you can just click the links to the different social media platforms. They are on the website as well.
Awesome. Well, for people who are listening to this and whatever, if this is resonating with you, reach out to Yolanda. She is truly amazing at what she does. And I have loved the fact that you've come on here, you've shared your time with me and with others. And I want to really thank you for that.
Thank you, Maureen. Thank you.
So, for other people out there who are watching the replay, or if you're here right now, we are here every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, I will be bringing you another rockstar entrepreneur to share the wisdom out there that Yolanda just did, where you can pick up some inspiration. She's given you quite a bit today, and really an understanding of what it takes to be successful at entrepreneurship. I'm Maureen Edwards. Reach out to me if you need anything at 8simplesteps.net. Of course, you all know where I am on social media. I'm on LinkedIn. My Facebook page is Start and Stay in Business. And you can always find me on Clubhouse every single day with Business Results Done Simply. That's my club. So please reach out if you want to take the hard out of entrepreneurship. I look forward to hearing from you, and please join us next week. Yolanda, thanks so much again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Maureen, and thanks to your community for listening in.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Good
for
night,
having me.
everybody.
Bye-bye.